Hey, welcome back to episode 16. So we have Rachel Bentz with us here today. And Rachel is a certified personal trainer. She helps women over 40 with their nutrition. And Rachel, we'd love to hear more about your work and if you could share, what got you started on this mission.
Yeah. Um, yes. Hi, everybody. I am a plant-based personal trainer. I have worked in the fitness industry for about 15 years, um, but really for the last 5 or 6, been focused on plant-based training, developed a method that I call pauses, push-ups, and plants, helping women over 40 lose weight and lose it and have joy while they're doing it. That's my whole thing. I'm all about having fun, all about being sustainable. Um, and yeah, that's a tiny, tiny bit.
Awesome. Awesome. And so you mentioned pauses, push-ups, plants, the method. So could you walk us through how each of those elements, supports not just, of course, your physical health, but the emotional and, mental aspects of the journey as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the whole thing for me started where I was just really focused on exercise and nutrition. And I thought, it's all you needed. You just need to work out and you need to eat well. And while that is part of it, it really wasn't until I included the first part, the pauses part, that things really clicked for me. So it was about 5 years ago. I was working in the fitness industry, but I actually lost 40 pounds myself once I put that pauses piece in. And I thought, oh, okay, this is it. We need all three pieces in order to both lose the weight and keep it off kind of for a lifetime. So the three things, the pauses, sometimes it just can be a pause, but really thinking about including meditation or journaling, devotions, whatever that might be. But we need to start there. That's why I started with the word, but it really is foundational because for women, for anybody really, if we don't start with reducing our cortisol, creating these spaces in our life where we can breathe, and it includes sleep as well. If we don't do that first, it doesn't matter how much we're working out, how well we're eating. We can lose a little bit of weight, but it's not going to be sustainable. So we need to start with that pause as the foundation. Then getting into and actually, and I probably should have flipped it around. Plants probably should be the second word, but it's not. But then getting into push-ups. So, and it's not necessarily doing push-ups, although push-ups are a good exercise. Just started with P, but making sure that we're doing some kind of movement. And I break that into two categories. One, we need to be doing some strength training. All of us need to be lifting heavy stuff. We need to be doing some strength training and then finding some sort of cardio ish other movement that you love, right? It needs to be about joy because, and we'll talk about joy as a strategy at some point today as well. And then plants. Now, I personally am 100% plant based, but a lot of the women that I coach, and I coach mostly women, aren't necessarily 100% plant based. But as doing all the research, there is no, except the carnivore diet, which I think is kind of crazy, but there's no actual other diet that says don't eat vegetables. So my thing is let's start with the vegetables and then we'll figure out what else you are going to put on your plate. So, but those three things together. So taking some time to de-stress and pause, making sure you're getting some movement in, and then making sure you're putting good things into your body, and then the rest of it takes care of itself, right? So
For sure. There was a lot of debates on what people should eat, what all that when it comes to fitness, nutrition, and just health perspective. There's one thing I think a common ground that people can all come to, which is food definitely impacts our brain in a large way. So kind of from your experience, I'm curious what you would say or what are some of the best sources of food that will help with mood support, energy regulation, and kind of your why to it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, love that. Um, I have a whole big list, but if I think about my top three for sure, the first one, always, always, always leafy greens. Like get as many green leafies as you can on your plate, in your body, at every meal, even. And one of the reasons why is because leafy greens contain folate, and folate is essential in the production of serotonin. So if we want to have some good serotonin, that good neurotransmitter that running through our brains that makes us happy, we need to get some leafy greens in our system. So leafy greens, number one. Number two, berries. One, they're delicious, so why not? But two, berries are really high in antioxidants. And if we are able to lower our oxidative stress in our bodies, that then helps us lower anxiety and depression. So number one, so the leafy greens help with the serotonin. Number two, we're lowering our anxiety and depression through lowering our oxidative stress. And then the third one, it's kind of up in the air for me, but the third one really is going to be nuts and seeds. So chia seeds, flax seeds, almonds, cashews, walnuts, whatever, but they contain high omega 3s. And omega 3 then helps in with the synthesis of dopamine and serotonin. So, again, those happy neurotransmitters. So, why not? Right. So, I actually coach a lot of the women that I work with. You can get all three of those for breakfast because you put them in a smoothie, right? You pack your smoothie full of leafy greens, you put some berries in there, you put some flax seeds or some chia seeds. It also would include a frozen banana, and bananas have high vitamin B6, which also is really linked to lower depression. So if you do that in the morning, and some protein powder, because the other thing we really need in the morning is protein powder, or not protein powder, but we need protein as well. So whether that be plant-based or not, getting that in, and then so, easy and delicious way to start your morning. So, but yeah, I believe in that whole, and there's a lot of research that is coming out now too about that whole gut brain connection. It's so, I wouldn't want to say it's new, but new in the last 5 to 10 years, really thinking about what we eat really, really does impact our brains. I was just thinking on an offside, I always giggle at those. Okay, and you two probably do not watch TV so that you're seeing commercials. So this ages me a whole big bunch, but I'm going to say it, that if you're watching regular TV like the news or something, and you see the commercials for like Prilosec or whatever, like your food is fighting back, I'm like, if your food doesn't like you, don't eat it. Like you don't need to take a drug like to not do it. Just don't eat that food if it doesn't, like, it's not good for your body. So anyway, again, you guys
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
that makes so much sense. It's part of American culture too, because fast food is in your face everywhere and eat what tastes good and yeah, big marketing around all that. But yeah, it
Yeah,
makes
eat what
sense.
tastes good and then just like take a drug to like counteract what tastes good, right?
Exactly. Yeah, rather than having the self-awareness of, hey, my body doesn't react well to this. Let's stop. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt if you were going someplace else, but I think the other thing about that, the whole research about the gut and the brain, is that people will be like, yeah, but I crave that. And I say,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, of course you do crave that, because in our gut, we're growing these bugs, right? Like most of our body is not even ours. Most of our body is like made up of all these other organisms that are just, we're a host for a lot of
Mhm.
these things. But in our gut, then we are feeding, like literally feeding these bugs that are in our gut.
Mm.
So of course, if you feed it, so I do have to admit my thing was flaming hot Cheetos for a while, about 10 years ago. So I fed the flaming hot Cheetos bugs in my gut. So of course they were craving that, right? Because that's what was living in my gut. But if you slowly switch and then start to give it leafy greens or berries or all those other good things that are going to create these good neurotransmitters, you're also going to feed these really good bugs in your gut, and that's what you're going to start to crave. So those other cravings will start to disappear. So some cravings are psychological, but a lot of our cravings are just these organisms in our body saying, I want, I don't know, whatever it is. Fast food, McDonald's.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So it's rewiring the brain there. Uh, and so you work with a lot of, high achieving women. So I'm curious, what are some of the patterns or hurdles they tend to run into as they're trying to juggle everything on their plate?
well, and that's the word probably is juggle, because a lot of women that I work with are either executives or they have high powered jobs. So they're that, plus they might still have kids at home. They're probably married and or they're trying to date, whatever that is, or they may be taking care of aging parents. And so there's like all of these things that are happening. And all of these things mean that they're running at 5,000 miles an hour. And so their cortisol is like up to here. So the first thing that we really work on is like, how do we slow? How do we slow down? How do we take a deep breath? And I know the two of you talk a lot about the mental health piece of it too. So it really is, let's start there. Let's start with how do we do less? How do we not even do? Like do, like how do we just like not do? How do we just sit on the couch? How do we just breathe? How do we create space for that rather than, oh, here, do 75 hard or do Orange Theory or do all these other things. And I'm not disparaging any of those things because I think movement is great. And I think that consistency and having schedules are great. But with a lot of the people that I work with, it's first about less, not adding.
Absolutely. I can
I don't know
relate
if
to the
that answers the
70.
question.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I've been trying to go through the 75 hard multiple times, and I have too many other things I'm trying to do, and I just have to stop that for now. So I can
I mean, I don't
definitely,
think there's anything wrong with 75 hard in
yeah.
theory because all the things in 75 hard are really good. It
Hmm.
is just about like what my whole thing is how do we create habits that are sustainable? Now, I think hard things are good to go through hard things, right? But for a lot of the people that I work with, it's let's start small. So the whole theory about like tiny habits, about how do we start really small, putting some things in place so that within 6 months or a year, that eating a smoothie for breakfast or adding more leafy greens or going to the gym in a year from now is just like brushing your teeth. Like we all brush our teeth in the morning. So we all have that habit, right? But how do we make wellness as habitual as brushing our teeth? So that's kind of my thing. So I know I've tried 75 hard so many times. I think I only got through it once, but like I keep thinking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's great. But if you got other projects going on, other things you're trying to make happen, it's
Yeah.
tough.
It just feels too much. And again, it isn't something that you're going to sustain for the rest of your life. Like I
Hmm.
tell my people, like, you are creating habits right now that yes, it's going to help you lose weight, but you're also going to be doing it when you're 85.
Hmm.
Like, so let's like create these things. Maybe the weights aren't as heavy when you're 85 and you're not walking
Right.
as far, but the habit behind that, we want to create those lifelong habits.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And then one thing like kind of that I think you mentioned that relates to these habits that when I see what you do, it like kind of stands out in your idea of like thinking about joy as a strategy to coaching and not just discipline, and joy being like like a driver for sustainable health and mental well-being. You don't often hear that kind of like language, I feel like, used for this type of stuff. So I'm curious if you could share more regarding that.
Yeah, about joy. Well, I mean, gosh, since I even was a little kid, I was like, I wanted to be fun. Like I wanted this to be fun. And I know fun seems frivolous, but I have found, so maybe joy is my grown-up word for fun, but although fun is still a value of mine. But I do really believe that if something isn't enjoyable or fun, we're not going to keep it around. So it is hard to maintain something that you don't like to do. Like, right? I mean, why like why do we do things that we don't like to do? So for me, it's about finding the pause that you like to do. So maybe, so maybe it's a walking meditation. Maybe it is sitting on your comfy chair, but maybe it's devotions, maybe it's journaling. Like, let's find something that brings you a little bit of joy. Same thing for sure with, and I'm really trying to not call them workouts. I want the word to be enjoy out, right? Because I don't want more work in my life. So I'm trying to coin this word enjoy out, but getting some movement that you like. I mean, if you don't like to run, you don't have to run. Like, you can dance, you can go downhill skiing or paddleboarding or whatever that is. But if you find something that you derive joy from, you're going to do it, right? You're going to do it. And in terms of the food piece as well, yes, I, I joke with my people, like, if we didn't have some kind of control, our brains are like 5-year-olds. Of course, we're just going to like be toddlers when we eat, but you really will find some joy. But find some joy in what you eat. If you don't like kale, don't eat kale. Like, nobody's forcing you to do that, or nobody's forcing you to eat broccoli, although very good for you. But find some of those plant-based pieces or protein or whatever that you like. And if you find things that you like, then you're going to stick with it. So, and again, it goes back to the piece of, yeah, let's just have fun. I mean, life is, there's so many things about life that aren't fun, like our food choices and our movement, and that, yeah, let's just have fun with it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever you're doing, you got to find some way of, making it into a more enjoyable experience. Yeah, otherwise, there's not going to be the consistency. And I think you can find that even in things that you don't like or enjoy, there's still something to be found there that you can enjoy.
well, and I think right, Joey. So maybe it's that you don't enjoy lifting heavy stuff. Like, you don't enjoy going to the gym. Go to the gym with your buddy. Like,
Hmm.
find some, like, have the community piece be the
Right.
joyful piece of that. So there are some things that, yes, we just need to do, and it's because we our society has evolved into, we don't need to move at all in order to live. We could just sit in our homes and not actually move at all, sit on our couch and make $1 gazillion, right? So, right. But we have to move our bodies. So let's find some ways that are enjoyable. And it might not be actually the thing. It might be that you're doing it with people that you like.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely. That community aspect. And so when you do have, clients that are falling off the wagon, so to speak, or if they have a setback, maybe it's a splurge on, something unhealthy or whatever, and there's a sense of guilt or like they kind of fell off, how do you help them reframe that, those setbacks, so to speak?
yeah, I love it. One, I believe in like the 80-20 rule, right? So 80% of the time we're making choices that get us towards our goals. I don't say any food or any whatever is bad or good, right? It's all just a choice because we all have agency. We're adults. We all get to pick. So if 80% of the time you are picking movement and meditation and food choices that bring you towards your goal, great. So the 20% of the time, great. Go have that lava chocolate cake. If that's your favorite, if that is absolutely your favorite, go. And then, but what I want you to do is absolutely enjoy it. Like, absolutely enjoy that, whatever you're going to have, right? Or the week off of the gym or whatever it is. Pick it, like, actually choose it and enjoy it. But so guilt isn't really a thing because you know, I try to have it not be a thing for my people. But if they fall off they feel like they fell off. It's all about, well, okay, you also know what makes your body feel good. So you're not starting from ground zero. You know that if you eat well and if you move your body, that you're feeling better. So let's just get back there. I think the other piece is that the people that I work with, we don't start so we don't do 75 hard. So we don't start like work out 6 days a week, do this and do this and do this and do this. It's about what are the two changes you're willing to make this next week? Like really, what are the two small changes you're willing to make in the next week? So you make those two changes and then we meet again and then we say, okay, what are the two changes that you're going to make in the next week? And so it is about this stair stepping habits rather than, okay, do all the things because those things work. If you do, and I don't want to pick on 75 hard, if you do 1,200 calories a day and you work out 6 days a week, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose weight, right? That's science. But I want it to be about the mental science of creating habits that, yes, you might not lose as much weight over the next 12 weeks, but you're going to lose weight and then you're going to continue to, and you're going to build these sustainable habits. So, not about necessarily falling off the wagon. It's about, okay, it was the 4th of July yesterday. Did I eat all the things? Maybe. But now it's not the 4th of July anymore. And you just get back to what you know works for your body. So,
Yeah, like kind of what you were talking about, it made me think about like this no pay, no gain kind of mindset that that's been kind of, I don't know, people have different thoughts on it now than in the past. I'd say like in the past it was kind of like work hard and you will succeed, and now like that's being challenged in different ways, and work smart and who knows, but I'm kind of like if you could talk more about like how do you challenge that narrative in fitness and emotional health, because you mentioned like it's like focusing on one thing at a time, and not going like and kind of protecting your energy in a way that it's sustainable and becomes a habit rather than like, so I'm curious if you could talk, if you have any more thoughts regarding that kind of topic.
yeah, I mean, I do. And I'm a child of like no pain, no gain like thing. So I get it. And I mean, but still like David Goggins is still out there like kind of saying the same thing, right? And do I love some of the things that David Goggins does? Yeah, of course. Do I think he's crazy? Yeah, of course. And then do I agree with everything? No. Because I do think that okay, I'll say one thing about pain. Now, if you're first starting an exercise program, are you going to be a little bit sore? Yes, and I am all fine with that. Like if it's just a little bit of muscle soreness for a couple of weeks, yes. But I don't think you need to go so hard that you can't sit down on the toilet or you can't walk down the stairs. I mean, that's silly, right? Because I just don't think that we need to be in that much pain, physical. And I also think that the no pain, no gain, again, like the David Goggins, like the let's do as hard as we can all the time, it's just not necessary and it's not sustainable. So for me, it goes back to let's do what feels good for us today. Now, do we need to step out of the comfort zone? Absolutely. So you are going to do things that you might not have done before, but I start with meditation. Do 1 minute. Like people are like, oh, I can't even meditate. I'm like, okay, you're gonna sit on your couch, you're gonna close your eyes, you're gonna breathe for 1 minute. One. Like I don't, doesn't need to be 10 or 20 or whatever. Just do it for a minute. And then let's build from there. If you do it for a minute and you add a minute every week for the next 10 weeks, you're gonna be up to 10 minutes. And that's not painful then. And the other thing that I talk about with my clients too is if it does get to be painful, stick with that. Like if they get up to 7 minutes, they're like, oh, that was super hard. Okay, do 7 minutes next week again. Right? Don't move to the next level until you are ready to move to the next level. So yeah, I'm not adverse to discomfort because we need to move to things that, but the discomfort is more about maybe a little fear or maybe a little bit about that about change, but it doesn't need to be hard. I mean, most of the people that work with me are like, oh my goodness, it's 6 months down the road. They're like, I don't recognize myself, not both physically, but also because I'm just a new person, and I didn't ever think that I would take workout clothes on vacation. I had somebody say that to me the other day. She's like, I packed workout clothes on vacation. I'm like, yeah, because just because we go on vacation doesn't mean we don't work out, right? I mean, we don't become this other person. So it's just these things that you slowly change, and then you don't even recognize that you're changing until you're like, oh yeah, that was easy. So I'd rather it be easy because then it's sustainable.
Yeah, keep it simple and that is sustainable, absolutely. And so when it comes to you mentioned mental clutter in a lot of your posts, and so how do exercises like, meditation, breath work, just being still, how does that, reset your nervous system and help improve some clarity for, whoever you're working with or even, for yourself?
Well, one, I'm just going to say yes. I mean, it does.
Hmm.
Two, I'm not the brain scientist person, so I don't know exactly how all those things work. I know it lowers your cortisol. I know that when we're in meditation, that we are actually building new neural pathways in our brain. So I know those things are happening. Um, I don't know, the two of you might be able to answer that question even a little bit better than me, but it really is that just having that space and having the exercise, that's not the right word, but having the ability to know what some of those breathwork things are. I often have my clients be like, okay, you're practicing this so that when you're in your crazy busy workday and you're getting all stressed out, either maybe you just take 3 deep breaths, right? And nobody's even noticing you're taking those 3 deep breaths in the meeting, but you're doing that. Or you're able to take 2 minutes, door closed in your office, or you go to the restroom or whatever, and then you do some box breathing or you do some of those things so that if you practice those things in the safety of your home, that those are available to you during the day. Because I don't think that meditation is just this insular thing that we do on our couch, on our meditation pad, whatever, wherever it is, but it is practicing that is available to you throughout the whole day. So I don't know if that answered either, but and you two might know better even what happens. I just know that this, the research about like, oh, these people are meditating for 20 minutes a day for 5 years and their whole brain is rewired. Like, okay. And I do tell my ladies as well is that it also helps with like you're supposed to have reduced wrinkles. So if you meditate. So sometimes that just gets them to do it too. You guys don't know about that yet. It'll happen at some point.
Joey, I'm gonna steal your question that you wrote here because I kind of wanted, I see we're running, we got like 8 minutes left and I wanted to ask this question for you because I'm just thinking about the like community being involved when it comes to your enjoy method. And how do you think shared support impacts like someone's ability to stay mentally and physically healthy versus just like a one-on-one kind of, do you think that community, how important do you think that community aspect is when it comes to like kind of the work you do?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, clearly the owners of school think it's huge too. I mean, community is, I think it's everything. I don't believe that we were put on earth to just be insular or just interact with one or two other people. I do believe that the power of community. And one of the things that I see in my community as well is like we as women of in 40s 50s 60s going through this like crazy hormonal different time that nobody actually is telling us exactly what is happening, that we are learning from each other. So being able to be in this safe space where we can ask questions, other people are going through the same things, is, I mean, it just is comforting, right? And I mean, come on, let's throw a party. I think it's more fun if more people are there. If there's only one other person with me at the party, it's not actually a party. right? So the fun piece for me, but the collective knowledge and sharing, and that you just know that you're not going through this by yourself. So
And could you go a little deeper into what is the Enjoy method and what does that entail?
yeah, so the Enjoy method, again, that we kind of talked about that at the beginning, but the pauses, push-ups, planks that I encourage, and I can't force anybody that works with me, but that you have a meditation practice, whatever that looks like, and we can talk about that. I mean, I talk about that with my clients. You have a meditation practice, you put really good things in your body, like you're eating well and you're moving. So I think all those three things are important. Um, there are specifics underneath all of those, but you need to do all of those things. You need to rest, you need to fuel your body, and you need to move your body. So it's kind of the where I'm going with my clients and with anybody. I mean, I just think that's whoever you are, man, woman, 20, 75, you're all, we need to do all those three things in order to really be mentally and physically and spiritually well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so if someone listening is feeling stuck in any of those areas, physical health or fitness, nutrition, mentally, what's your first step advice for them to kind of start the journey?
My first step advice, and I mean, if I was talking, because it's all individual, right? My first step advice is do the thing that feels easiest first.
Hmm.
So if it is spending 2 minutes in meditation, that is the easiest thing for you to do, start there. If the easiest thing for you to do is add some spinach to your smoothie tomorrow, do that. If the easiest thing is to go for a 10-minute walk and you're not doing that right now, do that. Whatever is the low-hanging fruit, let's start there. Because yes, do I want you to do all of those things within 6 months and more? Yes. But let's start with quick wins, because then we get to celebrate. And celebration, not just because I love fun, but celebration actually then helps to cement habits. So let's get some fun things that we can, or get some things that we can celebrate right away. Start where you're at, and start where you have, again, those low hanging fruits. So I know that feels very wishy-washy, but everybody's different and everybody needs something a little bit different. And that's why when I work with people, let's talk about where are those quick wins. And then I can help support you where those more challenging things are that you want to get to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you're trying to lose weight, the first step is to lose a little bit of weight, or trying to eat better, eat the salad, right? Eat the kale. Just the first incremental progression.
Because then you get
Definitely.
to, yay, we get to celebrate. Yay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Or
it
it's some,
snowballs. Yeah.
honestly, like, and I know we're almost out of time, but honestly, maybe it's sleep. Like,
Hmm.
honestly, I had a client that she just got more sleep and lost weight. Just getting more sleep didn't change anything else.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's the pops. Like, who knows what it is for you. So
Hmm. Yeah, well, we would love to hear more about, anyone listening, where can they find you? Where can they get plugged into your community, and the mission which you're driving towards?
yeah, so a bunch of places. So I am on school. So it's Enjoy Positives Push-Ups Plants on School. If I'm on Instagram, Enjoy My Everyday. I have a website, enjoymyeveryday.com. I'm on LinkedIn. It's Rachel Bentz. And yeah, I've got a podcast as well, but all those things are, so Enjoy Unfiltered is my podcast. So you can find that on wherever podcasts are. But yeah, I would love to, Rachel at enjoymyeveryday.com is my email. So love to connect. And I'm really all about just like, I am here for people, here for women, here to support people, just all about like, let's do this and have fun.
Absolutely. And could you just reiterate who is your main audience that you're working with and
So
helping?
mainly, yes, great question. So women over 40 who either want to lose weight or just want to feel good in their bodies again and have fun doing it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we will include all the links below. If you're listening, please check out Rachel's pages, her school community. Rachel, is there one piece of advice or one tip you would like to leave with everyone, whether that's nutrition related, lifestyle? What's one thing you want to leave with everyone?
I think really it's joy is your strategy. I mean, find find that and then everything else falls in place. So joy is a strategy. It's not just the outcome. Joy is a strategy.
Awesome. Love that. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for being on here today. And everyone, we will see you in the next episodes. Thanks again, Rachel. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you.